People around the world, you're welcome on POP Podcast, Progress Over Perfection, the podcast that will change your life forever. Are you ready? Let's go! Hello, everyone, and you're welcome to POP, Progress Over Perfection, the podcast that changed your life forever. Tonight, we talk about healthy relationship. Tonight, I have a couple that is a friend of mine, and they very gently say yes to my invitation to talk about healthy relationship. So, you welcome Joe and Daniel. How are you?
Ciao, Mauro. Lovely to be on with you tonight.
Ciao, Mauro. Absolute pleasure.
So starting, let's talk about a little bit about you two, Josie and Daniel. How long you been together?
You take this one. I can't remember.
Well, we've actually known each other for many years because we worked together. So we've known each other since, was it 2018?
2018.
2018, was it? Yep.
Okay.
But we only started dating a few years after that. So about 3 years or so now.
3 years together. And how, if you want to tell us, how everything evolved for you from friendship to now being together?
I'll start. We can go down a whole rabbit hole here, Mauro. But I think, we both work in the healthcare system. So I was just a regular staff member on the floor, and Josie works in education. So it's normally her job to look after new staff members, students, new grads, etc. So obviously, I think when I first started, I was spending a lot of time with Josie, just learning different skills. I remember she used to harass me so much about this e-learning that I never used to get done. And yeah, I think, we spent a lot of time just, doing a lot of like training exercises, skills exercises. Because I think because you were pregnant at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was actually pregnant with Sebastian.
Josie was pregnant with little Sebastian at the time. And what was really good, like sometimes, you'd be on the floor, you'd be working, it would kind of just be like, like what would Josie do? Like Josie would know what to do sort of thing, And then I think where it sort of was very different was when Josie went on maternity leave for a year. So, and I know I wasn't the only one that said it, but it almost just felt alone, like, no one there to like hold your hand and just, give you cues and just help you understand better the situation at hand, depending what was happening.
That's very nice. And we also had, Daniel sort of, he came into like my group of friends, I already had established. And so then he became friends with them as well. So we were, all in like a group of friends, lovely bunch of guys from work. Then we just both found ourselves single at the same time. And I guess the rest is history.
Yeah. And we just, we became friends, and we'll pretty much talk every day. We would, we'd talk every day. We just, caught up more often, and what just started out as friendship just blossomed into something else.
What did you like about her, Daniel? The first time that you saw her, what do you like about her?
I want to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
Italian.
Well, we're
not just Italian. I think, you see, I've always been really heavily interested and just love the Italian culture. The food, the coffee. You guys have got the pasta, the pizza. The tiramisu. Like, I love all that. And I think if there's one place I've always wanted to go to in the world was Italy. Like, that's just I would happily go to Italy and die tomorrow, like it was just like, it's like the one place I've just always wanted to go. And I think just seeing, how much Josie embraced and showed her passion about, her Italian heritage that was one thing for me. And I think the second thing actually was just how kind natured she was, and her smile.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's nice. And Josie, what do you like about him when the first time you saw him?
Well, I mean, at the time, I guess I just saw like a new person that I had to train, so didn't really think anything, huge amount at the time. But then obviously as we got to know each other, we became friends. I realised as well, like how lovely he is. What a kind person. Obviously quite spunky as well. So,
Daniel, what is your background?
What is my background? Well, I'm actually Australian born.
Okay.
I'm Australian born, but my dad's from Cape Town and my mum's from Bangalore, actually.
Okay. So
Both
the
both
question
immigrated a
is,
long
you
time ago.
the question is, you have this mixture of culture, but you're born here, so you are Aussie, you know. How and where Josie, she's born, you born here, correct, Josie,
Yeah.
as well, but you're very Italian. You know that the Italian blood is is consistent. So doesn't
Mhm.
matter where you're born, you are Italian. So how do you match these two cultural differences between you two?
I feel that we actually have something in common. The fact that we're both children of immigrants
Okay.
is actually more like a common ground rather than a point of difference, I think.
Okay. Nice, nice. And how do you celebrate if there is any moment of difference between you two?
Italian just takes over. So that's it. So now that's it. Now he's just Italian by association.
Okay. So you're Italian.
Daniel does some really lovely cooking, so traditional like curries and things.
Do curries. I'll do lots of barbecue.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's mostly
Yeah.
I like to eat and things like that, or vegetable dishes and things like that.
Okay. Nice, nice. Um, Now you start to be together. That you, Josie, you already have one or two kids, correct?
Yeah, two
Two,
children.
two children. And how was for you?
To be honest, I wasn't really sure how it would go. Obviously, like Daniel doesn't have his own children, and I'm older than him as well. And I was thinking, oh, we'll see. Children can be full on, and they're still quite young, especially when we first started seeing each other. But yeah, you've been amazing with them, and they think he's the absolute best.
Okay, okay.
I try.
And for you, then, how was the new reality for you? What changed inside you living this experience?
What changes inside me? I think for me, to be honest, I think it's all around communication. To be honest, because I think a lot of the time with me, this is why I'm terrible. Like I'll normally say things how it is. Like I won't beat around the bush or anything. I'll just say it as it is. Whereas I think, coming in with like, two kids and stuff, obviously, you got to just, take a step back, just think about what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, explain it in a way that they'll understand. Also say it in a way where, they won't feel scared or they won't feel upset or just, you know what I'm saying? Any of like those sort of things. More or just assessing, doing my own assessment on how I'll generate my message across to them in an effective manner.
Mhm. And how this shape you
How does it shape me?
as a person?
Probably more than what you realize, because Daniel doesn't have lots of like little kids in his life. It's not like he's around lots of like, nieces, nephews, things like that. There's not really that many children, in your personal life. Obviously, at the gym, you do spend time with kids. That's in a coaching capacity. But yeah, probably more than what you realize too. You've gotten immersed into life with kids.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, as Josie said, like I do coach kids. I train kids how to wrestle. And I guess, from a coaching perspective, it's completely different relating to them. We're relating to, Josie's two little ones on more of like a personal level. So, but yeah, I think it does shape me more than what I realize. I've actually you actually caught me on the spot with that question, to be honest with you. I've had to think about that.
Yeah. Well, I love asking questions that put you on spot, because the answer is always something that you have to think about. One of the questions that make people scream fear is, what do you want in life? Huh? What do you want? What is what you want? And you can see how many people do not know what they want. So this is another one of the questions that, how this shape you? What kind of man you became after this experience? And how you change, not only in the family now with Josie and these two wonderful kids, but at work in your daily life. So how this being together shape you with outside world?
I think it was like taking on another level of responsibility. and accountability. You know, I think every decision, every choice, anything you do, you know, revolves around everybody. So I think, I mean, in a way it works out well because Josie works mostly mornings. I work mostly night shift. So, you know, I'll sleep most of the day. And then more often than not, you know, I'll get to see the kids, you know, before I go to work and stuff like that. Because, you know, by the time I'm getting ready to go to work, it's bedtime. So then I'll go to work, come home in the morning, and then I'll see the kids. And normally I'm the one helping them get out the door.
Yep. Comes home to the morning chaos. So yeah, he comes home and we're just getting out the door.
But or another thing, like obviously depending on, you know, what I mean, I like video games. Not that I get a chance to play them much these days, but obviously if I'm playing video games or if I'm watching anything, you know, obviously I do have to be wary about, you know, what I'm playing, what I'm watching, you know, because you know, there's both a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old around the place. But what's really nice is when it comes to, so I'm not sure if we're flying off the question here, but where I was going was,
I love what you say, so keep going.
but what's really nice is this is where the whole just bonding happens because, you know, Sebastian, you know, maybe watching something, you know, like Ninja Turtles, for instance. You know, I like Ninja Turtles, so we can chat, we can relate. You know, I bought him like I think for his birthday or was it Christmas? I can't remember. I bought him like a whole Ninja Turtle sewer lair. Not that I think he plays with it anymore. Or sometimes like, you know, I'll be if I am gonna like, you know, play a game or something like that, I'll go sit in the other room and I'll be playing a game. And while he's, you know, watching, you know, his AFL football or watching whatever it is that he wants to watch, he may be looking for me. So he'll come find me and then he'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I'll be like, "Oh, you know, I'm just, you know, I'm just watching this this show." He's like, "Oh, you know, it's, you know, I used to." Whether it's a show, whether it's a game, or sorry, I'm sounding so repetitive now. But he'll come and find me like, "Oh, you know, what are you doing? What are you watching? What's this? Tell me about it." You know, and like he'll want to get to know about it. So
question after question, you've learned about
it's just like why, and it's like, oh well, that's just how it is. Yeah, but why?
Yep.
So that's not good enough. You know, needs an answer. So I'll be playing like I was playing a pirate game a couple of weeks ago.
What's that mean?
And he came over and he's like, "Oh, what are you playing?" And you know, he wants to hang out and, you know, delay his bedtime to come see what I'm doing, and we'll ask lots of questions and stuff like that. But yeah, so, you know, it is quite nice in a way.
Yeah, you've learned that as well. How many questions like a kid can ask? The never-ending questions. Why? How? Why? What for? Yeah.
For you, Josie, have such this beautiful relationship with Daniel and with the kids. How much your life has changed since 3 years ago?
Yeah, it changed a lot.
In what way?
Yeah, well, I don't know that I ever really, you know, I didn't really plan to be bringing like another person into the children's life. It's you know, it's a really big thing. It's a really big, like, you know, commitment and everything. And yeah, like I said, I wasn't sure really like how it would go. But yeah, it's gone like really, really well. So yeah, very lucky.
Nice. Well done, guys. I would like to ask you a question about the working time. When you just said that you, Daniel, work in the night and you, Josie, work in the morning, correct? So you never see each other. So many times with the couples I work with here, I find this situation where there is difference between how people work, or maybe they are fight for, no, they're distance in some way. How you communicate about and how you organize this situation?
Well, I don't feel that it impacts on us too much most of the time because, I mean, in a way, because we work at the same place, we don't really want to be really seeing each other at work, I don't think. Like, it's nice to keep things separate. So that's a really positive thing, is that we very, very rarely ever see each other actually at work. So that's, I think, is a really good thing, because I don't think we could have continued to be in a relationship and then also seeing each other at work. Like, that would be too much. But I think between me just working part-time and then with the night shift, like, he'll start at 9 o'clock. So still, even if he is working, he's still home in the evenings. So we are still getting to see each other like in those periods of time. And then obviously on the nights off as well. So yeah, I feel as though we managed with that one quite well. I think it works for us. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree. we'll plan. We'll plan because I think you have your set days that you
Yes,
work, and
yeah.
my days off are always moving all over the place.
Mm.
So I think it all just comes down to just our communication, really. Like we just, I think we've got really good communication. Or like what we'll do is, like for instance, like we'll set like a Tuesday. Tuesday's kind of like, our day to just hang out, for instance, because obviously Josie doesn't have the kids. Normally like I'll train, X amount of days a week, but these days, I've looked at it, I'll sacrifice a Tuesday night, because, I look at that as that's me and Josie's time sort of thing. Unless I, have to go to work, then, I'll still, have a night in, but I'll just go to work in the end.
By the time he's going to work, it's time for me to go to bed anyway, like most of the time, really. So it doesn't matter in a lot of ways. I think we do communicate very well, but I have a joke that like with Daniel that like I have a list of things that like I, have been like meaning to tell him, or like a list of things I forget to tell him. And then, every couple of days or whatever, I'll be like, oh, things that I've planned and I haven't told you about. And it'll be like, on this podcast was one of them. Or I'll be like, on the weekend, so-and-so's coming over, or we have to go here. I've agreed to do a podcast with Mauro like next Tuesday, like all that kind of thing. So I probably could do a little bit better like with that. But
to be honest, that's actually something I love about you.
You're kind of getting used to it. And then it's like, what else haven't you told me? Yeah, well, my parents are coming up on this date. What else? We're going here. Yeah. But
yeah, going to Bunbury here.
Yeah.
You keep adding stuff.
Yeah, I try not to, but then, just busy, lots going on in life, you know how it is.
I have a question about healthy relationship, okay? And about, there is a big discussion about masculine and feminine, there's 50-50 work in the house, and this fight between men and women, for the power of who knows what. How you handle this conversation? If you handle, or if you never had a conversation about gender equality or these things.
This one, or should I take it?
You go for it.
Well, I don't actually think we have an issue with that at all. Like, because we don't, I mean, I can speak for both of us. We don't believe in gender assigned roles. We both cook. We both do jobs around the house. I would say we both clean, but I know that's not entirely true because Josie does more cleaning in that department. But on the odd occasion, there have been times where I will do like a whole clean around the house. But I think it's one of those things, like for instance, whether it's, say dinner, dinner. All right, so if I've been off and I've got nothing, if I've been off and, I know Josie's, been either out all day or Josie's been at work, then, then I'll be, we'll have the conversation normally the night before, like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? What do you want to plan for dinner? And then more often than not, that day, the next day, I'll start making dinner plans. So by the time, Josie gets home from work, either, dinner's like either mostly done or it's done. Because the way I sort of view and look at it, I want to, have minimal work for her to do by the time she comes home. So hopefully I can, be done with most of the stuff, whether it's, dinner or washing or cleaning or sorting the clothes out or the washing, for instance.
So doing all these things, you become less masculine, as some people say, or not?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. No. I don't feel less masculine. To be honest with you, I actually feel more masculine, just, keeping up, clean home and just being on top of things. I think if anything, it'd be worse and I'd feel less masculine and probably feel like a pretty crappy person if I've been at home all day and I'm sitting on my backside watching TV, washing hasn't been done, clothes hasn't been sorted, the kitchen sink's an absolute wreck, dinner hasn't even been prepped yet. I think I'd feel, I'd be like a really crappy person and a very, very less masculine person.
That's a good way of putting it.
What do you think, Josie, about this? There is anything you want to add to what Daniel said?
I think it just works well because I think our values are like quite similar when it comes to this kind of thing. And like a lot of the time, depending on what the days have been like, the days can be like really, really busy between work and then getting the kids to different activities. And like I do find I have to be really organised to even get like anything happening for dinner a lot of the nights. And yeah, we can often both be just like really busy. Sometimes it'll just happen that like, yeah, there's like a dinner, like I'm not going to have dinner cooked or I'm not going to have something done. And it's not really like, I mean, I'm just accepting that's how life is. And it's not really a big deal for Daniel as well. Like it's not obviously we wouldn't want to be living like that, like every single like, you know, day of the week, night of the week. But I think just we're both the same, that if it turns out like tonight we're going to eat Subway or we're going to eat scrambled eggs, like neither one of us is like bothered by that. But there would be some people who wouldn't like that. And if they haven't had a home cooked meal 7 nights a week, sort of not be really happy. And maybe that could be something that's like a source of tension, whereas that's not a source of tension for us at all.
I think it's the best way in a modern society to have a relationship, because anyway, women don't stay at home to cook all day long. Now, luckily, you ladies have the power to go to work and provide and help the man to provide for the family, and you have the right. We need to change the way that we perceive the family, the couples, gender equality or not. Can I ask you, being with each other, what did you learn about having a healthy relationship?
Well, I think the honest answer is I think just ever since being with Josie, I've just been happy. I've been happy and stress free.
Mm.
You know, like
I don't know how he's not stressed out, but apparently I don't stress him out, which is a miracle.
No, you don't. I mean, I won't go too much into it, but obviously, you know, with my previous relationship with my ex, that relationship, I felt there was an immense amount of stress. Like I was unhappy. It got to a point, obviously in the beginning, you know, I think because, you know, we want to see the good in somebody, and, you know, we've got this self-denial that we don't want to face, you know. So sometimes, and what I mean by that, I mean, sometimes, you know, there'll be red flags that'll be right there staring you in the face, and, you know, we choose to ignore that because we're in this like self-denial phase that we don't want to believe. And I think and I was in that phase in my previous relationship, but I think for me, because of the stress that it put on it, I began to feel unhappy. And then things started coming to me. You know, I started seeing more of these red flags, and I thought to myself, God, I'm such an idiot. Like, why didn't I see this before? And you know, when you sit back and reflect on it, I was more just like, well, hold on a minute. No, I did see these things before. I was just in denial, and I didn't want to accept these things. I didn't want to see these things in that person. And yeah, like I remember the moment I left that relationship, I just felt this immense amount of stress and pressure lifted off my shoulders. And since, yeah, just being in this relationship with Josie, like I've honestly never been happier. You know, like I'm always happy. I'm stress-free. I'm carrying no stress at all. And yeah, like I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And for you, Josie, what is a healthy relationship?
I think you do have to have like similar values, like I already mentioned. I think that goes like quite a long way. Yeah, like I do think that we have like a very healthy relationship. Yeah, like we do like communicate very well with each other too. And yeah, things just are not generally like things don't really become a big problem, I'll find. So they're like, we'll have to think about if there's something that's happening, or we might have like a schedule conflict or whatever, like we are able to sort it out like quite quickly. But I think we're both quite easygoing as well when it comes like to lots of things too. Do you think so?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, like I was saying before, I think it all comes down to just really effective and healthy communication with the other person, because as Josie mentioned, you know, if there is some sort of a disagreement or something somewhere, you know, we sort it out quickly. You know, we nip it in the bum ASAP, sort it out. And I think just one of my sole beliefs as well, I mean, I've always believed you should never go to bed angry at, you know, your other half. Because I feel that's just, that's unhealthy, and that opens up another whole can of worms, as you'd probably know. But that's just one of my things. Like, I'll never ever go to bed angry or upset or anything like that. I'll have to, we'll address it ASAP and sort it out.
I like it.
Just because, if you go to bed angry, I feel, you dwell on it, you get all sorts of intrusive thoughts, and then, it's like your brain may interpret things differently to what actually happened. And by the time you know it, you're holding on to all this conflict. And, again, like I said, that will just open up another whole can of worms going down that rabbit hole.
No, thank you guys to share this thing, very intimate things between you two. I think it's very important that we talk about healthy relationship and we communicate what is a healthy relationship. I want to ask you, after many years and a couple of kids around the house, of course, if you feel to want to respond to this, how you keep your intimacy alive? All the work, all the kids, how you communicate this, how you work through this?
I think you do need to plan, which I know doesn't necessarily sound so fun, but I think definitely planning and just then prioritizing, the time that you'll spend together, and then I guess having a plan B as well. So if we were going to, say it was a day off of mine, we both had the day off, and then one of the kids is homesick from school or something like that and we can't do it, or something's come up or whatever's happened, then I think just rather than being like, oh, well, everything's ruined, then still think, okay, well, what can we do instead, or when can we reschedule it for? And I think that's something that we do quite easily without missing a beat. Yeah, I can think of lots of times when we've done something like that. Although, Mauro, it's not normally the kids, I think, that get in the way. Half of the time it's when my family come and stay, because we have my brother comes to visit, my auntie will come to visit, my parents, and I honestly reckon they have been the biggest culprits of interrupting when we've had a date night planned. That's just true. And then again, same sort of thing. So we'll have a date night planned for whatever night, and then someone will say, oh, I'm going to come stay on the weekend, and then I'll be like, tell Daniel, so this is what's happening. And then
when you remember to tell me.
I remember, yeah.
You do.
But so it's not kind of like, oh, we'll just leave it then. So then we will look at when we can reschedule something. And sometimes it might take us a couple of weeks before we find free time again. But we do it. We don't just gets left, and then we just never end up having that time together.
I can imagine for you, Josie, I have this idea of your family come over. So all village from Italy moving your house, it's very
pretty much
with a lot of tomato sauce and bread and pasta, all these things. Very very stereotypical.
It gets hectic, my brother anyway, but it can get really hectic. But they all think that Daniel's fantastic. So all my family, they love hanging out with Daniel as well. So I think that helps as well. So if it is the time that they are going to be, invading, I'll tell him, oh, we're having some invaders on the weekend. Yeah, they're invaders. But for him, they love seeing him, and they'll bring him wine, and they'll love to chat with him and everything. So at least it's a pleasant experience. So even if it is interrupting a date night that we were meant to have, at least it's, lots of fun. He gets along really well with my brother Luke as well. So at least it's enjoyable.
Nice. I have another question is about growth. In relationship, it's important that the couple help each other in a personal growth, in a pursuit of their dreams and their ambition. How you communicate about dreams and how you support each other in everyday relationship?
Well, Daniel is good at listening. So probably in the last 6 months, well, that's true. I can think of a good example for that. In about the last 6 months or so, I've been doing lots of reading and listening to lots of things about mindset and changing your mindset and things along those lines. And I've had my eyes open to so many different things. And it's just for me, quite a few times, it's whoa, mind blowing or earth shattering stuff that you start to realize. And obviously I want to tell him, and yeah, and he listens. And so sometimes he'll be like, and what about this? And then that, and I had this thought, or I like heard this today. And he does seem to listen very well. And sometimes I think, oh my God, I must be driving him crazy, telling him about all of this stuff. And I'm not even sure how much you're listening, or is it just like going in an ear and one out the other? But
No, I do listen to you.
But at least he's listening. At least he's not.
And you don't drive me crazy.
But at least he's not like, oh, enough about that. You told me about that already. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, you read that book. Like So like I said, I'm not sure what's happening in there, but like he's definitely will. At least he sits there and like it seems like he's paying attention, and which is I think that's really positive.
Mhm. For you, Daniel, how do you see this? How you help each other to grow?
Each other to grow. Honestly, I think just every day, just doing life together. Josie makes me both a better person and a better man. Like
Time management.
yeah. That's a good example actually. Like I've got shocking time management. Absolute shocking.
What do you mean with that?
What I mean by that, I'll be starting work at 9 o'clock at night time, and it'll be, 9:50, 9:55. I haven't left yet.
8:55.
8:55. Sorry.
No, but even like
Yeah.
I guess that's just running late. No, it'll be even more like if we're going to make it more complex. So like say we have to be somewhere at 5 and it takes half an hour to get there, and then we'll need however long to get ready. So we'll need to leave at 4:30, but then we need to be ready to leave by 4:30. And then so we might need to start getting ready at 4, but then we might need to stop on the way and buy a present. So really then what time do we need to start getting ready? The answer to that question is 3:30. The answer to that question is not 5 o'clock, because that's what time the party starts, or like whatever it would be. And, things would happen before. Daniel would arrive at like, 5:06. And I'm like, the party started at 5. Yeah, it's 5:06 now. And I'm like, yeah, but like, we're not going to get there. And so I think definitely that whole, you've gotten heaps better when it comes to that.
I was about to say, to be fair, I have gotten a lot better.
A lot better. Yeah.
Because I think I'll say to Josie, I'll be like, okay, what time do you want me back by? And then she'll give me a time and I'll be like, okay. And then like my brain processes and like, all right, be back at home by this time. Or, yeah.
And I'm not perfect with that as well. So I'm really great at working that equation out in my head. So it'll be, we have to start getting ready at 3:30. I'll still often will run late, but that's a different story. That's like, I don't know, not factoring in how much something's going to take to do or whatever. But I mean, I'm getting better as well, definitely. But yep. What else? Time management. I try to make you eat fruit.
I don't know why, but I sound very familiar. I have the same problem too, but very similar. Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, remember that according with some study, between 60-70% of the time that you discuss about something are perpetual. Okay. So it means that is all the same and never change. Okay. So make sure that you understand that you will have the same problem over and over again forever and ever. Are you happy with this?
Yeah, I can live with that.
I can live with that. Okay.
Yeah, I can live with that too.
Yeah. It's important that you are able to laugh about these things and, get along. Yeah, that's good.
And I think that's very true, what you just said as well.
Well, there is things that we learn and is a part of us, the little child inside us, no? Never change, that want to change. Now, last things, what is the challenges that would hold you together? Is any challenge that you had in the past that actually help you to solidify us and how you did it?
The best one I can think of when I was on workers' comp.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So back in 2022, I think we'd already had the conversation about like meeting the kids and everything. So I don't think I was going to be meeting the kids at that point.
We hadn't been dating all that long.
Because we hadn't been going out for that long. It was just unfortunate. I think mid-year of that year, I actually did my knee at work. So I was on workers' comp for about a year and a half. And at that time as well, I'd just bought my own place, and I think Josie moved into her own her place as well. And I think it was just one of those things. I think one day after telling Josie, about what happened and stuff, she sort of just said, well, why don't you come stay a few nights at mine, or come stay at mine for a bit, just to get, so you're not alone, you're not, feeling down, or your mind's not playing tricks on you, just, come stay with me. At least, you've got company, and, just offering that, that support, and so I did. And I think just staying, sort of did a lot of things, it grew our relationship stronger. It was also, got to spend more time with the kids, to bond with the kids and stuff like that. And again, got to the questions: what happened to your knee? Is it broken? Does it hurt? Why do you have a big brace on? What's that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's that's a good example.
I think that's where I'm not sure if peak is the right word, but I feel like that was a time that really just heightened and strengthened everything. Just, and again, Josie was going to work, when she was, and when I could, I was helping around the house, going back to what I was saying before about the roles, I was cooking, I would clean to my best, and do the washing, sort the clothes out, just all those just daily jobs that need doing. So that's what I was pretty much doing, with most of my time in between my physio appointments, obviously. And Josie was very understanding as well. Like, if I'd just been for like a physio session and I was like, too sore, she would understand. But then obviously, like on the days where like I could do stuff, I would do stuff. So I was doing something. So it was good, like it was helping keep my mind stimulated. I wasn't, sitting around doing nothing. And yeah, like that was just like a whole game changer, that point in time.
No, I'm glad that you brought that one up, actually, because that for me was
because that's also a perfect example of, things didn't go to plan, but worked out well. For instance, like I think we agreed, not to, I wasn't going to, really meet the kids at that point.
Yeah, we'd only just spoken about it.
Because I think the kids maybe already knew me. They knew I was like, I think your friend or something at work or something like that. Like I'd seen them around, like only very, very briefly, but.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I felt like I needed to, when that happened, I mean, like not to like go into like, like too many details, but it was, it wasn't a pleasant incident when Daniel got hurt. Another staff member also had gotten injured as well. And it was quite an unpleasant experience, to do with a person who was really violent at the hospital. So it was a really, really awful experience for Daniel. And so it was as well, like just like mentally, I could tell he wasn't in a very good headspace. And I felt like I thought to myself, I need to make a choice here, because a lot of the time, just by default, the kids are going to come first when it comes to stuff, because they have to have food cooked for them, and they have to be taken to school, and they'll need help with things. And so a lot of the time it's just how it is, like, they will come first just for small things. But then this was a time when I thought, maybe I actually thought, I was like, I think I need to actually do like what's best like for Daniel here. And I was like, I think, I need to tell him to come and stay at my place for at least a couple of nights, because like I said, I was really, really, really worried about him, not just the physical injury to the knee, but also, just mentally. And I thought, look, it'll be fine. I'll, just let the kids know Mummy's friend is staying for a few days. And that basically was what was meant to happen. And it's been 3 years and you haven't left. So.
Wow. So from that moment, you understood that you were good for each other.
I think so. And you did. And it went really well. It did definitely like accelerate the trajectory of the relationship. But in a positive way, like you said.
And, there was so many times that, around that time of the year as well, I was down in the dumps mentally, like, just not going to lie. Like I was in a pretty dark place. Like I'd be so depressed, some days, but on a positive note, like, when those kids came into the picture, it's like kids can just like sense, like, like how you're doing, and like, and they would just, they turn, if I was having such a shitty day, I don't know, just hanging out with them, even just like talking to them, they just know how to turn your day around, into a good day.
If you can give to another person the advice or tell something to someone that's looking for a healthy partner, Josie, if you have in front of you a young woman or a woman that's looking for a good partner, what kind of advice would you give to them?
I think I would just say, like, this is probably a time when you need to be listening more to like your heart, your gut, and the connection that you have with the person, because a person that is maybe going to be like good on paper isn't necessarily going to like work out. And like I said, on paper, we probably weren't going to work out. Like, like I said, there's an age difference. I already have like children, like just lots of things. Lots of people would tell you, oh, that's not going to last. That's going to last 3 months. It's not like what happens. Some people have like I don't know what the word is, like pre-existing ideas. They'll think maybe like, a younger person might always want to be going and partying, or they're not going to be mature enough, or like just lots of different things. So I think I would say that, like, rather than be looking for, like, especially if people are like meeting people, or I don't know, like on a dating app or something like that, they might be looking for like the good on paper person, maybe someone that they've met that they have that, like, have the connection with. I think I would say go with that.
And for you, Daniel, if you have someone in front of you and ask you, give me an advice about how can I see a good partner, what would you tell them?
Date Italian.
Look for the Italians. Date an Italian.
Just mucking.
Nah, I'm kidding. I think I'll tell them, like, find someone that, appreciates you for you. Don't try and be, what you're not, be with someone who, loves you for you, has, those similar values to what you have. I think just good communication. Like, I know I keep saying it, but I feel like that's what it comes down to. Like, when like, there's been so many times when, like, I've assessed, Josie and our relationship, and I look at it and I think, something, like, the one thing we've got real going strong, we've got really good communication, and it's true. And I think that's like that's a fundamental aspect of what a healthy relationship is.
I love it. Thank you, guys. We are almost the end of this interview for today. Josie, you have a podcast, correct? Would you like to tell to our listener what is the podcast and what is about?
Well, thanks, Mauro. It's definitely a different feel to this podcast. It's the Italian Australian podcast, and I host that with my little brother Luke, who I've just mentioned earlier. Lots of things about being Italian in Australia, and lots of different stories. And you have featured on there 3 times actually as well. So this is nice. It's a little bit of a crossover.
Jeez, 3 times. Really?
Yeah. So, and that's always fun when you come and join us too, as well.
Well, thank you. I enjoy to talk about Italian because I'm Italian. So, I'm going to leave the podcast link, okay, on the description. So, who is listening, I want to check out the podcast. What is the name of the podcast?
Italian Australian podcast.
Okay, Italian Australian podcast. So, because I don't think was clear earlier. So, yeah. Anyway, if you want to listen, I'll leave the link in the description, and you can find Italian Australian podcast and with Josie and Lucas Dacqui. And guys, Daniel and Josie, thank you so much to be here. See you.
Thank you for having us. That was good.
Thank you for having us. That was good.
Yeah, that was a lovely chat.
Well, I love talk with people that have success in their relationship, and they're happy to be together, because too many times people talk about what doesn't work in a relationship, but I love to talk about what works in a relationship. And you just give to the people out there, if they want to understand and listen and understand the key for a healthy relationship. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mauro.
Thank you.